representing some of our sponsors. There is also a very important person here this morning, a gentleman who will have to take some of the shots, while Dennis himself and the director's hideaway, Coach Hallgrimson, will have to face some of the bullets. So I want to especially welcome Coach Hallgrimson. I just also want to recognize Director Beckford, who has just come in. Today, like Earl has said, is a very significant and important day in the history of football in this country. The JFF would have started the process of negotiating with an entity that I probably want to think is arguably one of the most decorated sport apparel manufacturer. And we would have started this discussion as long as maybe 3 years ago. And these negotiations were intense, to say the least. And sometimes I would have felt helpless. Sometimes I would have thought that it's not going to work. But thereafter comes some light. And the truth is, like they have said, the rest is indeed history. We would have signed an agreement with Adidas, which will take us for the next 4 years. And the intensity from a footballing perspective will be at a premium. And Earl did say that we have a number of footballing activities from here on. You will see in a few minutes, while we try to display some of the pieces, and General Secretary and the staff members who are all here, I also did not recognize you, but let me belatedly do so. We will look at some of the kits that we have with us. We would have gotten a portion, and I understand that on the 23rd, another consignment will arrive. So we have a 4-year contractual partnership with Adidas, and we are expecting that from this partnership, we at the JFF must significantly change the whole landscape of every single component of the sport, whether it be administration, whether it be from a technical perspective, whether it's refereeing, whether it's coaching. But this partnership with Adidas will, without doubt, positively impact every part of the sport of football. We want to ensure that our grassroots program is reorganized. We want to ensure that the parishes are impacted. And we have believed, and I want to reiterate, that football ought not just to be football, but we at the JFF, we are intent on ensuring that we, from a social perspective, we must impact the lives of every single boy and girl as we try to use football to rebuild this nation of ours. And we would have had these discussions a number of times. Here is an opportunity, now that we are partnering with a worldwide entity, to exercise and to implement some of these plans that we have put in place. We have a set of directors, we have a set of staff members, we have a general secretary. We are all intent on ensuring that we use football as the tool to ensure that from a commercial perspective, from a social standpoint, and from a footballing standpoint, that we impact each of these entities. This is no ordinary partnership. It is not. And like I've said, it has taken the JFF 3 years to fully influence and convince our partners that we are in a position to work closely with you and to ensure that as part of a contractual arrangement, each party gets its pound of flesh. It is incumbent on us now as the leaders of football to ensure that our partners, Adidas, get what they deserve from this investment. And it's going to be tough, but we are intent on getting things right. We have a very, very busy schedule for the rest of this year and certainly for 2024. On the 11th and 14th of March, we will engage our Caribbean counterpart, Trinidad and Tobago, in 2 friendlies. On March 26th, we have a Nations League, a very important game, against Mexico, in Mexico. In April, the CONCACAF Under-20 Women's Championship will be played. In June, the CONCACAF Gold Cup for men will start. In July, of course, probably most importantly, the Women's World Cup will start down under, of course, in Australia and New Zealand. In summer, the Under-15 Girls and Boys Championship will be played. In September, the Olympic qualifier, Jamaica versus Canada. And of course, in November, a continuation of the Nations League. In 2024, the inaugural staging of the Women's Gold Cup, and really we're expecting to do well there. The Copa America, which will be played in the US, and a number of other footballing events. So we want to ensure that we get things right, and we want to put plans in place and to ensure that we execute on the day. Again, I want to use the opportunity to say thanks to all our partners, all our sponsors. Some of them are represented here. We want to make it very clear that we could not have done what we have done and what we would have achieved if it wasn't for your support. We want to thank the government. We want to thank all the private sector entities that would have helped us. This is a game changer. This is an exercise that we must use to empower our staff members, our member associations, our parish associations, and of course, our communities. We are intent, again I want to reiterate, that we must use football to stem violence. We want to ensure that we get into some dysfunctional communities, maybe for want of a better word, but we must positively impact every single boy and every single girl in this country. That's what this JFF wants to do. I want to again say thanks to the principals, General Secretary, Vice President, directors. Thanks for your support. Sometimes it's challenging. Sometimes we have disgruntled directors that seriously go overboard. But maybe it's all the passion and the zeal to get things done and to get things right. I want to say to you that I want to lead the JFF on my feet, never on my knees. I'm not going to bow to pressure. I'm going to be strong. I have a role to play. I must impact our boys and girls. And like I've said, this partnership is a game changer. 2022 is arguably the best year ever in football. We qualified our senior women's team and we signed a contract that is second to none. Never in the history of football in this country would have signed a contract like we would have with Adidas. So amidst the pressures, amidst a global pandemic that certainly would have curtailed or desired to go forward and to put plans in place. But that's behind us, and we want to ensure that we get things done, get things right, and it has to be best practices from here on. Thank you very much.
MC all the time, right? Yes, so he doesn't get paid for this job. So everybody know that, so we don't need sponsorship for that. President Michael Ricketts, our directors, VP Anderson, Pearson, Danny Beckford, and Rodolph Speed is here. I want to recognize also our coach, Al Grimson, who is here. Our sponsors who are here from Wisinko and Courtly, really appreciate them a lot. Our sponsors who could not be here, who are Jamaica Stewards and the SDF. We also have, do we have First Choice here? Right, so we have a new sponsor coming on just today, is First Choice Pharmacy, who is going to provide us with medical equipment for all of the players. I want to recognize also the media, who always gives us support, and from today we'll be saying kind things about us, right, Wayne? Wayne not hearing me. And the staff, of course. I mean, our staff here is tremendous, as the president has said, in terms of the support that they give. And I want to especially recognize, I'm sure he's watching, Marlon Gilbert Roberts, who is a person who has worked with us from overseas on the Adidas contract. And finally, I want to recognize Adidas, because this is a huge deal. There is no other deal like this that has happened in Jamaica. And we want to thank Adidas for the support. Just a few weeks ago, someone from Adidas Latin America was here, and he really gave us a lot of support, carrying even some gears to the under-17 tournament in Guatemala. And finally, I want to recognize our under-17 team who went abroad and gave their best with the coach and the team, the women's team, who is now in Australia, preparing for the World Cup come later this year. And I'm sure Coach Al Grimson will give us an update on the very busy schedule that he has for this year, because we have a whole lot of matches piled up for 2023 and 2024. Next year will be the inaugural Women's Gold Cup also, so our women are really stepping up. I want to say that it is indeed a pleasure and significant for the JFF to be working with Adidas. Adidas is a huge brand. I was away a few weeks ago at a coaching seminar, and I can tell you that the expectation around this transaction globally is huge. I mean, not just in Jamaica. In fact, I think that based on the feedback, that the expectation and the excitement of people internationally could even be more than the excitement that we have here, based on the comments that I'm hearing, based on the comments I hear from persons who work at Adidas in North America and Latin America. They see this as a big thing, because remember this, Jamaica, this transaction with Jamaica is more than just football and sports. It is a culture, right? And you see the article in the Observer today. This is Adidas taking advantage of the cultural aspect of Jamaica. In fact, what was said to me is that it's the first time someone said that they've seen Adidas have an agreement with a federation where they have introduced a designer. No other transaction has done that. And remember, at the same time that Adidas signed with us, they signed with Italy and Costa Rica at the same time, but you haven't heard the same level of excitement as the Jamaican. So Jamaican brand is a big, big brand, and I think we need to take advantage of that. We need to recognize that, and what we need to do also, and I know the president is on a path with the directors to do this, is ensure that the ills of the past and the disunity that we see, we don't see it again, because we are now, and I see it, a global brand. Right? JFF is a global brand. In fact, when I was away a few weeks ago, and you mentioned that you're from Jamaica Football Federation, they start talking about all the talent of the players that we have, right? And we don't recognize what is coming, right? Because the talent that people are talking about that we have, in fact, one of the things that they say, the coaches, we're talking about coaches, you know, coaches are saying that we should be at every World Cup based on the talent that we have. So our job is to ensure, as the President said, that we make sure that happens, that we give the support that's needed for that to happen. And that is something that we are definitely going to do. We've been trying to, you know, cement our relationships, bring the unity. Last week we met with, we gave a presentation to the Minister of Sports, Honorable Babsy Grange, Olivia Grange, who did express a lot of support for us, and I will be calling on her. Of course, you know, there are some things that we want to work on for this year. For example, you know, the girls are going to World Cup, and we really need to send them off properly, right? That's something that we want to work again with the government on. Yesterday, we had a presentation to the Prime Minister, who again said that I don't have the responsibility as a person that he said the President and the directors must get us to World Cup, right? So that is directly on you guys, right? Well, between you, the President, Pearson, Speed and Beckford can sort out where the responsibility lies, right? But he said that definitely Jamaica needs to get to the World Cup. And we're going to make sure that happens, right? Because we brought Coach Al Grimson to take all the blame, right? So he has a plan. I mean, I was impressed. I said to people all the while, the first week that the coach came, he presented a 4-year plan with all the practice matches he wants to play for the next 4 years, right? And that was very impressive. But we're going to get there. And with the partnership with Adidas, I think that we're definitely going to get there. I think that we have a lot to offer in terms of the sponsors who are going to come on board. In fact, I spoke about First Choice, and they actually came to us along with some other sponsors and said, listen, we want to do something with JFF because this is going to be big. This thing with Adidas is going to be big. Already, the first day, the site crashed because of the amount of people that were going on and trying to buy things, right? And people are globally is buying things, and therefore it's going to be a huge thing. I'm not going to say much longer. I just want to thank our sponsors and invite our sponsor from Businco Water to come up here, because we still had, Tamisa, you can carry it, we still had a kid sponsor last year, and although this is Adidas, what we want to do is we want to present first, before we present the Adidas jersey to you, our appreciation for 2022. There are 3 main sponsors we had. So we have a signed jersey, the last jersey, right? Signed by the captain, Andre, of the men's team, the president and myself. So we put that in the office, and I know that once you're going to be here with us forever, right? So you'll receive an Adidas kit the next time. But for now, we're going to present you with an Adidas, and Tamisa can present it to you, right? And this takes over from this, right? Right. So we want to thank you.